At the deepest layer of human relationships lies the desire to feel safe, to be seen, understood, and loved. Yet there are relationships that destroy precisely this most fundamental need. An abusive relationship is not merely a physical threat, it is an attack on the very fabric of reality. When someone repeatedly questions their partner's feelings, memories, and judgment, they do not only gain control, they gradually dismantle the inner compass of the person beside them. Freedom is not lost in a single moment. It disappears through a series of small, almost unnoticeable concessions. The recurring rhythm of violence, tension, explosion, apology, and renewed hope creates a peculiar emotional logic. To outsiders, it may seem incomprehensible why the victim does not simply leave. Yet the victim increasingly begins to think only in terms of short-term survival strategies. After each new storm, they become convinced that they themselves were the cause, that they must be better, quieter, more compliant. Dependence is not only economic or physical, it is emotional and existential. The abuser ends up providing the very validation they have systematically taken away, and the cycle closes. This dynamic extends far beyond private life. Our societies are steeped in myths that equate power with order and obedience with love. We often shroud abuse in the haze of being a family matter, as if everything were more forgivable behind closed doors. In truth, it is precisely the silence that keeps the system alive. The real question, therefore, is not why the victim does not escape, but why we as a community allow invisible shackles to be forged around them. The most revealing effect of psychological manipulation is that it destabilizes one's sense of what is normal. In time, the victim fears not primarily the abuser, but their own judgment, the possibility of being wrong. Thus, the questioning of reality becomes the deepest instrument of control. A person who loses faith in themselves has nowhere to flee, for they can no longer trust even their own mind. This spiritual captivity is often sustained by stronger bonds than any physical threat. And yet the story is not only about destruction. The realization that love is not the same as fear, and that peace cannot come at the price of silence, emerges slowly but with liberating force. When communities, friends, and institutions are willing to listen patiently and take a victim's experience seriously, the rebuilding of trust becomes a bridge toward freedom. Responsibility is therefore shared. It is up to all of us to lift the veil from private matters and stand on the side of human dignity. The universal lesson of abusive relationships is that power becomes destructive when it is not limited by empathy and self-reflection. The essence of love is to make room for difference, free choice, and authenticity. Once that space disappears, a relationship ceases to be a place of care and becomes a domain of domination. The real question, then, is not why do victims stay, but how we can build a world in which respect, not silence, becomes the strongest bond.